Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to Mindgasms. So, I am Andrew, aka Culture War Mindgasms, for the purposes of this video, and I'm going to talk about the one of my favorite intellectuals, the moral and social psychologist Jonathan Haidt, a clip from his recent appearance on the AI researcher and coder and MIT teacher Lex Fridman's podcast, in which they were talking about Elon Musk, and Jonathan Haidt heavily criticized Elon for declaring himself Republican on Twitter because lefties are too mean to him. And he criticized him for Jonathan Haidt criticized Elon Musk for doing that because he said that it threw fuel on the fire of the culture war and just amped up things that were already so tense. And he was on Lex Fridman's podcast in the first place due to his recent article that he wrote called something like "The Last 10 Years in America Have Been Uniquely Stupid." And it's basically his theory about how social media has antagonized and ramped up the culture war and political division between people. So I'm going to show the tweet here and then show this show Jonathan Haidt talking about this with Lex Fridman and comment on it. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so a lot of people have heard about this tweet, of course, because it sparked a lot of controversy. In the past, I voted Democrat. I wonder if I can do an Elon Musk impression. In the past, I voted Democrat because they were mostly the kindness party, but they become the party of division and hate. So I can no longer support them and will vote Republican. Now watch their dirty tricks campaign against me unfold. So obviously, like, in my opinion, I think that's really fucking stupid. Not because, but I don't have any inherent problem with people choosing to be Republican or conservative, unlike a lot of lefties who have commented on the issue. But whether people in a political party are mean to you or not is a stupid fucking metric for what your political leanings should be. But that wasn't Jonathan Haidt's criticism of it. Oh, actually, that was one aspect of his criticism, but that wasn't the main aspect of his criticism, as I mentioned. So I'll get into Jonathan Haidt's reaction to this, and I like it because I respect him a lot, but I'll tell you my opinion of his reaction to it also. Okay.
Organizations. What's the importance of the role of Mr. Elon Musk in this? So, it's all fun and games, but here's a human who tweets about the importance of freedom of speech and buys Twitter. What are your thoughts on the influence, the positive and the negative possible consequences of this particular action?
So, if he is going to succeed if he's going to be one of the major reasons why we decarbonize quickly and why we get to Mars, then I'm willing to cut him a lot of slack. So I have an overall positive view of him. Yeah. Now, where I'm concerned and where I'm critical is we're in the middle of a raging culture war. And this culture war is making our institutions stupid. It's making them fail.
I like what he just first said there, because Jonathan Haidt is not one to be a bomb thrower or anything like that normally. So he mentioned that he respects what he's doing with Tesla, of course, trying to help people transition to solar powered cars. So that I like that he did that before he criticized him. That's more than I would do of some people I disagree with.
This culture war, I think, could destroy our country. And by destroy, I mean we could descend into constant constitutional crises, a lot more violence. Not that we're going to disappear, not that we're going to kill each other, but I think there will be a lot more violence. So we're in the middle of this raging culture war. It's possibly turning to violence. You need to not add fuel to the fire. And the fact that he declared that he's going to be a Republican and the Democrats are the bad party, and, as an individual citizen, he's entitled to his opinion, of course. But as an influential citizen, he should at least be thoughtful. And more importantly, companies need, and I think would benefit from a Geneva Convention for the culture war, in which, because they're all being damaged by the culture war coming into the companies.
Mm-hmm.
What we need to get to, I hope, is a place where companies they have strong ethical obligations about the effects that they cause, about how they treat their employees, about their supply chain. They have strong ethical obligations, but they should not be weighing in on culture war issues.
Well, if I can read exactly.
So I think he makes an interesting point there, partially because I'm not really sure what to think about it personally. I think it's a good point that companies are, they're damaging themselves and they're damaging society, specifically American society that he's talking about, of course, through the culture war and by ramping it up and taking sides. And I just thought of this now, but neither of them mentioned that. Of course, a lot of conservatives in particular, I bet, have mentioned this, that a lot of corporations are also virtue signaling and taking sides with like wokeness or whatever you want to call it on in the culture war. Woke corporations signaling diversity and gay pride and trans rights and all that kind of stuff, or like, the infamous Gillette ad that was really politically polarizing and people had fully formed opinions on it without even having watched it. I know a few people personally who did that. And, there's, of course, the woke FBI and woke CIA ads about how there's this Latina woman talking about how, as a Latina woman, I like that I do not get discriminated against at the FBI. So it's stupid to virtue signal about the culture war on either side if you're a company, I think. So I think he makes a good point in terms of for the reason that he's saying he doesn't like that, because it damages society and it contributes to the escalation rather of violence, which has been happening in recent years. And I think a lot of people get hyperbolic about this personally, but given that's what he believes, that makes sense. And since he's a person I respect, I give merit to his argument, and I don't necessarily think there's a civil war coming or anything like that. And I think he clarified that too, but that the violence is ramping up. But it's interesting whether you think that private citizens should be able to share their political views and be as explicit about them as possible, versus whether the CEO of a company should do that. And I can see the merit of that argument that they shouldn't do that. I mean, it probably is overall better if they don't do that, but I'm not so sure it's a terrible thing to do. And I'm not so sure of the extent to which Elon Musk doing something like that is actually harming the culture war, even though, like I said, I thought his tweet was fucking stupid, and his way of determining his politics in terms of whether they're mean to him or not is also really stupid. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with being a conservative inherently, but like that being the way that you choose your politics is stupid, especially if you go the opposite way too. If you decide that the right was nice to me, now they're mean to me, so I'm going to be a lefty. That's also stupid in my opinion. And Lex Fridman is a huge Elon Musk fanboy here, so he defends him here.
Exact tweet, because part of the tweet I like. He said, "In the past, I voted Democrat because they were mostly the kindness party.
Mm-hmm.
But they have become the party of division and hate, so I can no longer support them and will vote Republican." And then he finishes with, "Now watch their dirty tricks campaign against me unfold." Okay.
What do you make of that? Like, what do you think he was thinking that he came out so blatantly as a partisan?
Because he's probably communicating with the board, with the people inside Twitter, and he's clearly seeing the lean. And he's responding to that lean. He's also opening the door to the potential bringing back the former
Donald
president
Trump,
onto the platform, and also bringing back, which he's probably looking at the numbers of the people who are behind Truth Social, saying that, okay, it seems that there's a strong lean in.
For anyone who doesn't know, that's Trump's alternative social media platform, Truth Social. Most of you probably know that, but of course it's epically failed, of course, like most of Trump's businesses.
Twitter, in terms of the left.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, from what I see, it seems like the current operation of Twitter is the extremes of the left get outraged by something, and the extremes of the right point out how the left is ridiculous. Like that seems to be the mechanism, it's that's the source of the drama, and then the left gets very mad.
I think that's true. Although it's also that I was thinking about this the other day that, aspects of the right endlessly talk about how the left has gone crazy, and then aspects of the left endlessly talk about how the right has gone crazy, and they act like there are these such things as the left and the right as a whole, and they describe each of these political ideologies as a monolith, as if that's actually true, even though I've seen countless lefties disown the crazy woke lefties, and I've seen not as many, in my opinion, but I've seen some sensible conservatives like Glenn Loury, for example, disown the fucking crazy QAnon right wingers. So I think those are a minority of both quote unquote the right and the left. So I think he's mostly right, but perhaps the mechanism is slightly different there in that it's kind of more similar for both sides.
At the right, that points out the ridiculousness, and there's this vicious kind of cycle.
Exactly. That's the polarization cycle. That's what we're in.
There's something that happened here. There's a shift where there's a decline, I would say, in both parties towards being shitty.
Okay, but Lex, whatever you think about the parties, that's not the issue.
Yeah.
The issue is, should the most important CEO in America, the CEO of some of our biggest and most important companies, so let's imagine 5 years from now, two different worlds. In one world, the CEO of every Fortune 500 company has said, "I'm a Republican because I hate those douchebags," or "I'm a Democrat because I hate those Nazi racists." Yeah. That's one world where everybody puts up a thing in their window. It's culture war everywhere, all the time, 24 hours a day. You pick a doctor based on whether he's red or blue. Everything is culture war. That's one possible future which we're headed towards. The other is we say, you know what? Political conflict should be confined to political spaces. There is a room for protest, but you don't go protesting at people's private homes. You don't go threatening their children. You don't go doxing them. Sure. We have to have channels that are not culture war all the time. When you go shopping, when you go to a restaurant, you shouldn't be yelled at and screamed at. When you buy a product, you should be able to buy products from an excellent company. You shouldn't have to always think, what's the CEO? What an insane world, but that's where we're heading. So,
yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
So I think that Elon did a really bad thing in launching that tweet. That was, I think, really throwing fuel on a fire and setting a norm in which businesses are going to get even more politicized than they are.
And you're saying specifically the problem was that he picked a side.
As the head of as the CEO, as the head of several major companies, of course we can find out what his views are. It's not like actually with him it's maybe hard to know, but it's not that a CEO can't be a partisan or have views, but to publicly declare it in that way, in such a really insulting way, this is throwing fuel on the fire, and it's setting a precedent that corporations are major players in the culture war. And I'm trying to reverse that. We've got to pull back from that.
Let me play devil's advocate here.
Okay, so I think he makes a really good point there, and Lex Fridman gets there into defending Elon Musk, and I understand why people are Elon Musk fanboys, and I understand why people hate him too. I consider myself kind of neutral on him. I don't think there's any such thing as these glorious geniuses who are going to save the world like Elon Musk or any other number of people. But I also don't think that he's just this evil idiot that has malicious intentions or anything like that. I just think that I agree that it's dumb to get that antagonized about the culture war, and for that to be how you determine your politics. And I like Jonathan Haidt's last clarification at the end there, that it's not even necessarily it's not bad for a CEO to have political leanings and to make those known, but to declare it in such a public and insulting way is not a good thing for a CEO of the company to do, because he has so much power and he has such a large voice and he has so many Twitter followers and there are so many uber hardcore Elon Musk fanboys that it really does throw fuel on the fire of the culture war. And it really did in that way, because as you can see, this is politically tribalized, just like almost everything in today's world, as they were talking about. Right wingers, generally speaking, are enormous uber fanboys of Elon Musk and think that he's going to save free speech by buying Twitter. And then lefties think he's this like evil, racist, not necessarily racist, evil rapist, sexual assaulter, fascist, because I don't know if you heard that that he was reported to allegedly have offered a stewardess on his private jet a horse if she gave him a hand job, because she was about to give him a massage and he rolled over and apparently offered her a horse for that, which is a terrible thing. But I also just think it's funny that someone literally offered someone a horse for a hand job. And also, if you want that sort of thing, just go to a prostitute. It's way cheaper than whatever the price of a horse is. I can virtually guarantee you that from, people I know who know people. But anyway, so let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about how Elon Musk did this? I know it happened like a week or two ago, which is forever ago in YouTube world and Twitter world and online world, but I made a video about it once, but I wanted to comment on Jonathan Haidt's thoughts about it because I really respect him and he's one of my favorite intellectuals. So what do you guys think about Jonathan Haidt's response to Elon Musk's tweet? And what do you think about Elon Musk's declaration that he's a Republican now because the left was mean to him, supposedly? And what do you think about Jonathan Haidt not liking that because it's sort of irresponsible for the CEO of a business to do, especially at least to do it in such a public, attention grabbing and insulting way? All right, so yeah, again, like I said, I just thought that was interesting. It would be fun to make a video about it. And like I said, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Click that like button, click the subscribe button, click that bell to be notified when I come out with new videos. Check out the one I did yesterday with my friend Dusty, in which we analyzed the trailer for the upcoming new and fourth Thor movie, Thor Love and Thunder, in which Natalie Portman is back. Chris Hemsworth goes from fat guy to the most jacked and shredded he's ever been in his life because he took roids and some other stuff, and of course worked really fucking hard too. And Christian Bale plays the villain, so it looks really awesome. And also look forward to this weekend, we are finally going to do that movie chat about Taxi Driver, the famous Martin Scorsese movie directed by Martin Scorsese and starring Robert De Niro, which is kind of like a prophetic movie about incels and mass shooters, which is unfortunately pertinent right now. And possibly on Thursday or Friday, don't know for sure yet. It might be talking with my other Canadian friend, Chris, about Justin Trudeau wanting to ban all handguns in Canada and whether this goes too far. And yeah, thanks again, everyone, for watching. Check out my Patreon page as well. Link is in the description of the video as always. Any amount is appreciated, anywhere from $1 to $2,000 a month or anything more than that. And like I always say, I love you all, keeping the tiny beam of light that shines through the almost impenetrable darkness in the universe. And most importantly, always remember this: the funk cures all. And groove is in the heart. And try to not get too outraged by the culture war. I know I get too outraged by it sometimes too. And again, let me know your thoughts about Elon Musk and Jonathan Haidt's opinion on it in the comments. And oh, someone who's watching said, "Oh, I just got here." Well, rewatch it again from the beginning. And thanks for commenting. And let me know in the comments what you think about this whole situation. All right. Thanks again, everyone, and adios until next time.